In a way that I understand you and your work is you've done a lot of different types of projects where it is really about challenging the status quo in different ways, always in a way connected to future, always connected to technology, or usually connected to technology. And in a way you're in a position of watching what's happening in the world, I understand. So really, I'm interested in how you evaluate the situation right now that we are in with, let's say, a new economic situation induced or kicked off because of the corona pandemic, and which might have big implications for the future, what is going on right now and will happen the next couple of months, because basically the economy was standing for, let's say, 2 months, however you calculate it. So how's your evaluation of the current situation?
Yeah, let me maybe first add to how you introduced the question. So I think I have a general view on topics. So I'm not so much into the simple single topics like blockchain, AI, and all that stuff. But I see my role there in really connecting the dots and bringing people together. And as I always came up with, also in research projects I did some 15 years ago, funded by the European Commission and so on, I got the role of a translator, so translating from one language, if you want, to the other language. So if you have somebody who's really in AI, they are talking in a way that nobody understands, let's say. And on the other hand, my first contact with blockchain, for instance, was for the music industry. So we were talking about music and blockchain at the Most Wanted Music Conference in 2017. So I can understand what musicians do and what their pain points are, and I can a bit understand what's all about the fuss about the blockchain. So I try to bring that together and teaching both sides, how to talk to each other and where the potential is. So that is my position more or less as a translator. And in these mentioned research projects, I had the fact that a lot of people came to me and say, okay, we listened to the doctors and professors, but can you explain us again? So because it's too complicated. So, and I try to make it as simple as possible. So that may be as an introduction to answering your question about the current situation. So on the one hand, when we were thinking about also at the different conferences and my speeches, thinking about the future, it was always somehow dystopian because most of the people said, okay, people are not able to change that much. Back then, before Corona, we said, okay, we need some alien attack, more or less, to unite people behind a great mission. So, but there is no alien coming, so there's no alien challenging us. But this time, the alien, more or less, is within us, which is a kind of creepy, but this is the alien attack. So we need to unite us without borders, without any kind of distinction, just as people, as humanity, to change something. So, and of course, right now we have the situation that it's twofolded, So you could be very pessimistic, and people also tend to be that pessimistic about, the economic impact and the current situation in the US, for instance, and so on and so on. And this comes also from the point that we don't come from a really good position even before Corona. So a lot of people right now say, okay, we want to get back to normal. So some say new normal, but let's say a lot of people in every industry want to go back. And then I ask, okay, why back? Because that wasn't that good, So we already had tremendous problems with our democracies. So I don't have to mention any names. You know what I'm talking about. We had problems with our economy. We have problems with the climate. We have the climate crisis. So we are coming out of a really bad situation, more or less. There was a guy here in Berlin who wrote an article, and he was writing about shopping malls, but you can replace it with any other topic, more or less. And he said shopping malls and shopping high streets and so on are corona patients with serious pre-existing conditions. So you can apply that to many things. So right now, only the anyway obvious failure comes obvious, you know? So you see right now much better what's going wrong, you know? So if you, for instance, look at a high street in every city, and they say, okay, all the shops will close, then I say, yeah, of course, and hopefully, because not all the shops, of course. So I'm happy with everybody making their business. But if you see that our cities right now are only built for shopping, people come to Berlin just for shopping, you know? So they go back with a lot of shopping bags and other suitcases they buy even here, and they come here for shopping, not for the culture, not for the people, not for understanding and experiencing, but for shopping. And if you look at the big cities or at every city, it's meant for shopping. And that's wrong, you know? So and of course, if we see our high streets in the future with empty shops, then we have a structural problem. And we can solve it right now. That would be interesting now, only to mention one example, to focus on that and say, okay, what is important to integrate into a city? So third places, so places for communities where people can meet, that would be important. So, and I don't mind one shopping, one shop disappears or the other. So, but I would like to think about how to replace that with meaningful things, you know? So, and there are many things which are these so-called third places where people may meet and have a social life. So that's just one aspect, and you can apply that to many other aspects. And so to answer your question, so right now we are in a situation to become conscious about that. So at least 10 weeks after this all started, or is it even 12? I don't know. People are still busy with doing, you know? I just say doing. So they just want to work. I see people who are busy even more than before. And what I ask is honestly, you're really busy. So you could calm down, just step back, you know, because you try to be busy because you can't deal with the fact that you might be not busy. So you have nothing to do. It doesn't make sense to make another meeting, talk for another 2 hours about a certain topic. So step back. And one of my speeches I had before Corona was more or less called shut up and listen, you know, so, or do nothing, you know, so just step back from these madness we have been in before. And talking about the changes later on, I really hope that things are changing. Because as I said already, our society, our political system, our economy isn't in the best shape. So we anyway can't continue that way. So, and then we, of course, shouldn't try to go back to the normal things as much as possible, but rethink how meaningful that was. If you want to talk about a broad vision, then we can refer to post-capitalism. So Nico Pech, one of the authors about this topic, he said we have to make huge reductions in everything we are doing. So he says, okay, we are in Germany, I think, consume 12 tons of, or produce 12 tons of CO2 per year. And he says, okay, to fight the climate change, we have to reduce it to 2.5 tons, not by, but 2.5 tons. So this is a huge reduction. So right now we come maybe a bit closer to that, but this means we have to change our complete lifestyle. So, and people are not able, not willing to change. They are lazy. So, but right now they have to. And I said there is a pessimistic side of that story, but I'm rather on the optimistic side of the page, you know. So because I think there is no other chance than to look forward in an optimistic way. Because if I'm stay on the pessimistic side, I don't have to do anything. So if I'm pessimistic, I can choose to do whatever because then I can't change it anyway, and then everything is gone anyway already. So there is no alternative than to be positive and to embrace change and to take it and think about that. And this is one topic we get right now, and this in combination with climate change is a huge driver. And if we get rid of all this laziness and of all these being afraid of change, if we can teach people, okay, come on, go on, you know, so we didn't go to a restaurant for some time, so it's okay. So the restaurant's open again. So I'm serious about the business conditions they are in, but we must also consider the fact that it's not killing anyone here, at least not in Central Europe or in most of the Western world. You know, we are in a good situation. So we have to deal with that, and we are able to do that. So, and we can some kind of relax and bring out good examples. So there are so many creative examples out there. So for the event industry, for instance, what I really like, where I say, okay, there are people who are not crying, you know, but they already cried, but now they are stepping forward and come up with really bright ideas.